Yeah, Schizo Jits here. We're talking UFC Noche, UFC Fight Night, Grasso versus Shevchenko 2 in Las Vegas. Had controversy in the main event. We're going to have to check out the scorecards because they were kind of trippy, a little iffy. You know what I mean? Like, well, let's just look at them. Okay, we had two judges. One judge, Sal D'Amato, gave the fight to Shevchenko 3 rounds to two. Janchiro Camijo gave the fight 3 rounds to two for Grasso. So we ended up with a split draw because Mike Bell he made it 40. He gave a 47-47 scorecard. Okay, so Bell and D'Amato gave rounds 1, 3, and 4 to Shevchenko, and 2 and 5 for Grasso. Camijo gave round 4 to Grasso. And so, I mean, round 4 was the close round. That was the one that was kind of iffy. I think everyone could agree first round went to Shevchenko. It was a close round. And at the very end, she got a takedown and secured that round. And I think took the back for her briefly or something like that. And then second round, Grasso came and cracked her with the right hand. She dropped her. You know what I mean? She rocked her. Valentina rolled over. She got hurt, and but ended up on top with a takedown with a nicely well-timed double leg. Ended up on top, but still, everyone knows Grasso won that round. I mean, she dropped her, and then she had her back, I think, for a minute too, or briefly, but she threatened. But at the same time, okay, so third round was Shevchenko. Everyone knows she dominated it. She for like 3.5 minutes. She had control time. And her jab was working all night. She was landing that nice jab all night, timing it. I think Grasso was a little hesitant after that third round-ish. Even after the second, maybe she gassed herself out a little bit after she rocked Shevchenko and jumped on her and tried to finish the fight. And then, so the third fight, she basically was defending the takedown. And, it was it was all Shevchenko on the ground, where she had to defend a guillotine. She had to defend an armbar right at the end, Grasso, that is. So, I mean, she did show a lot of resilience, and, I mean, she showed a lot of patience on the ground, even though when she was in bad positions. But what I'm saying is I think it made her a little hesitant when it came to striking, like going to anytime she would try to overcommit or jump in with that 1-2. But when she would throw the 2, Shevchenko was trying to time that and get a double leg, kind of like a GSP, back in the day, jab, throw jabs. As soon as you overcommit, change levels, shoot the double leg, and get the takedown. So that brings us to round 4, which was kind of a close round, 2 call. It could have went either way. I mean, first half of the round, it was pretty even. Then Grasso gets, I think that's the way she gets some knees, gets a nice, she gets a clinch, gets like these hard knees, and a lot of time, even me watching it for a second right away, I was like, oh, are those legal? Are those illegal? But in Vegas, you can have a hand down and still get grounded. It doesn't save you. You can't play the old Aljo game or whatever where you put your arm down and you can't get kneed, to the head. So plus it was to the side of the head. So at first I thought one was to the back of the head. One was, I think, maybe to the back of the head, but heat of the moment. I mean, but Valentina not knowing the rules herself, that's the thing. I think we need universal rules all the way across the board. That way, like you could do these knees sometimes in Vegas, whatever. I mean, I hate the rule anyway. I think it's stupid when they could play that game where, oh, now you can hit me, now you can't. You put your finger down, your hand down. Oh, you can hit me now. No, now you can't. Like it's just like a chicken. It's a chicken shit move. You know what I mean? But it's within the rules, so I mean, you can't blame him. But I hate that damn rule. Like, I wish it should be all the way across the board though. Same rules for every state or wherever. Every venue. That way there is no confusion with the fighters or the refs. Shout out to Herb Dean, did a great job. He let the fight go. He knew they were legal shots. Shevchenko was complaining and trying to plead with him, but that's what I'm saying. There's that confusion there because who knows what the rules are, where it depends on where you're at. So that fourth round was close. It could have went either way. I mean, Grasso had moments, like I said, she had to take down, had the knees, clinch game. She threatened, on the ground, but then also got reversed as well. And then she got up, and like the one thing that I could almost lean towards Shevchenko under the new rule set is the damage, because she threw an elbow off the break it was a clinch off the break. She threw an elbow and busted open and caused a cut on Grasso's eye right towards the end of the round. So that's damage. If damage trumps all, then it's kind of like you almost have to lean Valentina in that fourth round. But Grasso did win a big portion of the round. So, I mean, and she piled on some shots on her on the ground up against the cage. And so, I mean, that's a tough round to call on that one. That was really could go either way. To me, that's the one that's the round which this fight, the decision was made. I think that was a close round because the other rounds you were kind of clear for the winner, except for round one was kind of close too. But the rest of the fight, you kind of knew who won the round. That one was kind of close. And according to the scorecards, Mike Bell, he even gave that round to Shevchenko. So that's what's kind of weird. Like if people are saying, oh, it's because of Mexico or Mexican Independence Day, like Valentina did at the end of the fight, it's kind of like, well, if you really wanted Grasso to win, that round 4 was close. Like if you're looking for anything to give to Grasso, I think you would give her that 4th round and not a 10-8, which is a controversy in the 5th round, which there's no way that was a 10-8 round, for Grasso. Yeah, she had her moments. She got the takedown, or she reversed position and then got her back. In the last, minute and a half, Valentina was actually controlling the 5th round with her jab. Like she was just like popping that jab out there, really had good timing and footwork on it. And I think that's also because Grasso was a little bit of not afraid, but just hesitant to engage because every time she overcommitted, she had either a double leg to defend or whatever. So that made it tough for Grasso. She had a lot to think about there besides the jab getting popped in her face. And Valentina was finding that jab. At least in that 5th round, she was finding the jab a lot. And but Grasso, so Valentina goes for a head and arm type throw, judo type style, and Grasso just stifles it, pulls her head out, ends up on Valentina's back, and then gets the body triangle on her, locks her down, goes for the submission, goes for the rear naked, doesn't really get it, goes for armbar somewhat, didn't really get it, so kind of stuck on, didn't want to lose position, so she pretty much was staying on the back for the rear naked, but it just didn't really come. Right at the end of the fight ends with, Grasso like basically with a face crank type, neck crank type, just face smash, just squeezing, kind of like a rear naked, but just across the face instead of under the chin, so that's basically how the fight ended, was right there. So big time round for Grasso. She won the round for sure because, like I said, Valentina was popping the jab and she was winning the round for the first 3.5 minutes with the jab, but then she got taken out and almost finished. But I want to say she was so close to being finished. Maybe if there was more time, maybe, but I don't think it was a 10-8. There's no way it was a 10-8. I don't think anyone thought that was a 10-8. I think, and I do want to see more 10-8 rounds. I want to see more 10-10s. I want to see stuff like when there's two fighter or a round where nothing happens, neither fighter really does much, then that should be a 10-10 round because nobody won, or 9-9 even. They both get a loss. Or if it's a back and forth where, dang, who the hell won that? They both bloodied. They both went for it. One fighter won one part of the round or half of the round. Another fighter came back. The other fighter came and takes over and wins the rest of the round. I mean, those I could see as 10-10, but this right here with the 10-8, this just was not there. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of damage done to Shevchenko in that round as well. I mean, so I just there's no way that was a 10-8. That was definitely ridiculous, crazy. I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that he was trying to make up for giving Grasso or Valentina the 4th round, and he was just like, oh, damn, it's just adding up to obviously he didn't want to see Grasso lose, but at the same time, if the 4th round was more like, all right, that's a close round, I could just give that to Alexa. If you're a crooked judge and thinking that way, or it's Mexican Independence Day, maybe he was just like, he felt like no one lost that fight because both women brought it and just went all out and didn't quit and fought to the end. But that's what I'm saying. The scorecards, like, I could see either way. I agree with it's either 3-2 either way. In my opinion, it's 3-2 either way. Either 3-2 Valentina, 3-2 Grasso. I mean, a draw is kind of weird. I mean, I could see a draw, but just not with that 10-8 in the 5th round. That's what makes it weird. Like maybe if they had a 10-10 in there or something or whatever, okay. But that 10-8 is just that changed it, you know. And so we hardly ever had that. Split draw was a decision, and yeah, just unbelievable. I mean, Valentina crying that, saying, well, not crying, but calling, you know, talking about, you know, like, oh, this because of Mexican Independence Day, that maybe the judge felt pressure to to have help Alexa retain her title. I just feel like that was just kind of uncalled for to say, because I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of like, you know what? It was a close fight. Could have went either way. That's how I see it. I could see it 3-2 Grasso. I could see Valentina, you know. So, I mean, it was that close of a fight. And, I mean, and that just goes to show these two are the two best women in the flyweight division right now. But that will say what's next. You know, they're going to have a trilogy now. Do they have to do this? I mean, you look at the totals, strikes and everything. I mean, it was close. I mean, 41% significant strikes landed by Grasso, and Valentina with 44%. You know, I mean, so I think Grasso mixed up her strikes a little bit more, like as far as, you know, like head, body, legs, everything. She was kind of striking everywhere. Like Valentina was more head hunting, and, you know, with the jab was her main weapon on the feet. I think was the jab, and then and she did have a nice counter right, or like a check right hook in that fourth round too, which was a kind of stopped Grasso in her tracks for a second. So that kind of, I don't know. Watching it live, I was leaning towards Valentina winning that round just because of that elbow that busted up Grasso. But I could see the argument either way, you know, because I'm not a judge. I don't know, but I could see an argument for either one winning that fourth round, which was the deciding round in my end. You know, that's what it comes down to. But if you look at Grasso, 18 out of 30 leg kicks, 22 to the body she threw, head 151. I mean, so she had a little bit more of a variety of strikes. I think Valentina was trying to play it a little safer here, not do no spinning shit, you know, nothing too crazy. You know, though she did that head and arm choke with the last minute and a half of the fight that caused her to get her back tick. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would definitely want to see this fight again, but at the same time, I kind of see what Grasso's saying too, where it's like, let's keep the division moving. Valentina has an injury. She, like said, she broke her thumb or hand. I think it was her thumb in the first round, or who knows when it happened, because she still threw a lot of jabs. I think it was on her lead hand. So, I mean, she threw quite a bit of jabs. So, I mean, who knows how long she would be out from that. At the same time, they got some tough matchups right there for Grasso, I think, too. Like, if Valentina had this kind of success, she was 4 or 7 for takedowns. So, I mean, Alexa Grasso did a good job of stuffing takedowns or getting up right away or keep scrambling and moving, so she never got put in too much danger, other than the one round where she was in that guillotine. But I was saying she got a skinny neck, a pencil neck, so it's hard to choke out people with no necks, you know. So, I mean, she did a good job. And I think that's what, even with the head and arm choke, she was able to get her head out of there and then push forward, and then now she's on top, you know, on her back. So, I mean, that's just one of those things where she's a scrambler. She's always going to keep moving, and that just helps her on the ground. Like, once you just lay stagnant on the ground, that's when you know, it's kind of like, I can't remember who was saying, I think it was Mighty Mouse Demetrius. You say you swim, you keep swimming, you stop swimming, you drown, you die. So you got to keep moving. You know, you got to just keep moving. When you're on the ground, keep hip escaping, keep giving them angles. You don't want to be flat anywhere. And Grasso does a good job at that, of constantly moving, constantly making you just adjust to her and to stay on top of her, you know. So, I mean, and I thought Valentina was going to really gas out her arms when she was like going for that guillotine in the third round, but just she still showed that they're both in great shape, good cardio. I think Grasso tired down a little in the fifth, slowed down a bit, and maybe that was because of the ground attacks of Shevchenko, you know, when she was on top a lot that round. So I think that did affect her a little bit, but she was still right there at the end. And whenever there was an opportunity where she could explode, she did. The thing with Grasso was, like, I think she was, whenever she would overextend, it's still, I mean, you're fighting a Muay Thai champion. You're not expecting to go in there and just get wrestled to death, you know, or constantly every time you overextend or throw a hard punch, like other than a jab, to get shot on or taken down. So, I mean, but that's just something that she's going to have to keep constantly improving on. And she did. I mean, she did stuff some takedowns, but still, Valentina had that great timing on a few of those double legs where it's just like, damn, where she just stifled it. Like, that round 2, Grasso dropped her, and then she swarmed her, landed some big shots, and Valentina was able to get that distance and get that perfectly timed double leg, take her down, and just stifle that attack and just change the, and just recover. Just recover at least. If she was rocked or how hard she was rocked or not, we don't know, but she definitely fell backwards and did a back roll. Got back up right away, but and Grasso swarmed her. So I don't know. This fight's crazy. I mean, of course, who would want to see it again? But we'll see what happens. We'll see what the UFC wants to decide. Obviously, Shevchenko probably wants this again. She thinks she was cheated and robbed. And, I mean, when it comes down to that 10-8 in the 5th, that's what makes it more like, dang, this almost was, like, set up. But I think, like, if it really was set up, then if Mike Bell was really looking to give Grasso the fight, he would have gave her that 4th round because that was a close round. It could have went either way. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Who actually won that fight? Was it a robbery? Do we want to see part 3? Or are we going to go and get some new blood? Thalia Santos and, she just lost, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's other talent in this division for sure that I'm not so sure how Grasso matches up with them, as far as the grappling. So, but I think for sure they're going to have to run this back in the future sometime. And why? It's the only thing, too, if you risk, what if Grasso does defend a bout against somebody else and loses, and then now it's like they're not going to be able to have the Valentina versus Grasso rematch. And I think it still is a little unfinished. It's 1, like 1-0-0, type thing. Like, Grasso has the 1 win, but it's a draw, so it's not really a win. She keeps her belt at the end of the day. So, I mean, and she feels like she won. Both women feel like they won the fight, and they gave it their all. I mean, but if you're going by just damage, it's like, you almost have to lean Valentina a little bit. But I don't know. It's just crazy. It was a crazy scorecard. Great night of fights, though. I mean, there's, Tracy Cortez did her thing. She won. She dedicated her win to Henry Cejudo's sister, who just passed away, R.I.P. Condolences goes out to Cejudo, Triple C, and his family for his loss of his sister, Gloria. And so Tracy Cortez did her thing. She won a fight. She went out there and showed out. Had a good showing. Unanimous decision. Kopylov smashed again. We just seen him in Utah. We were at that fight, and he kind of almost did the same thing where he was, getting tagged here and there, but just so much precision, throwing those body kicks, and then he just ended it with that liver punch straight to the liver and just shut him down. And what a great fight. He put on a show. Someone's going to be a problem for he's going to be a problem for middleweights in the future for sure coming up. So it's another one. In the co-main, we have Kevin Holland, Jack Della something. No. And that was another good fight. Yeah, it was a little bit, wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about that main event. Who won? Was it robbery? What's next? I'll see it again, but at the same time, I'm cool with the division moving on as well. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think and see what's up next.